Hello everyone, my name is Namergenera Espalo, and today we were going to tackle about the country's intercensal analysis of the two countries, which are the Ireland and Afghanistan. So the topics that will be covered is that titingnan natin kung ano yung differences and similarities ng two countries which are more developed and less developed when it comes to population, births and deaths per 1,000 population, rate of natural increase, net migration rate, total fertility rate, males and females life expectancy, urban population, dependency ratio, and lastly, infant mortality rate. So yung focus ng study is to determine kung ano yung population growth that happens between the years 2004, 2014, and 2024. So yung 10-year gap ng country ng Ireland and Afghanistan will be analyzed and see how that gap made an impact on each country. In order to do that, syempre, we will determine muna kung ano yung naging differences and similarities ng each country. The instruments naman that were used by the researcher are laptop and cell phone. In order to finish her studies, yung researcher was going to use the internet, yung population sheet or Population Reference Bureau or PRB that was given by the instructor to gather the needed data of information to address the research questions. So una na itatakal natin is yung Ireland, which is ito yung more developed na country, in which the modern Ireland began with the 1916 Easter Rising, which led to independence from the UK in 1921 after the Anglo-Irish Treaty. So yung treaty na yon caused the Irish Civil War that happened 1922 and to 1923, in which it shaped the country's main political parties. And then, naging republic yung Ireland noong year 1949. So, yung economy ng Ireland is mix siya ng private businesses with state-run services. So, yung mga low taxes niya is that ito yung nag-a-attract sa mga high-tech companies in which it leads to boosting jobs and growth. When it comes to culture naman, the Irish culture blends ancient Celtic traditions with outside influences. Though yung Irish language declined after the Great Famine, it was revived in the late 19th century, inspiring music, arts, and nationalism. So yung government supports efforts to keep traditional culture alive. 'Di ba maganda yung government nila? So we're going to proceed to the main point, which is the total population. Ano nga ba yung total population ng Ireland? So, yung total population ng Ireland is increasing siya since 2004 to 2024. Nung 2004, as you can see in the data, its population was 4.1 million. Then from 2004 to 2014, its population grew by 12.2%, increasing from 4.1 million to 4.6 million. And it is projected to grow by 19.6% from 2014 to 2024, reaching 5.5 million. So it indicates na steady and accelerating yung population ng Ireland, with potential implications na magkakaroon sila or kakaharap sila ng marami pang mga housing, infrastructure, and yung economy nila will eventually boom. When it comes to births per 1,000 population naman, yung data shows a decline in the birth rate per 1,000 population ng Ireland over the 2 decades from 2004 to 2024. So, yung birth rate nila nung 2004 was 16. And then, nag-decrease siya to 15 nung year 2014, and it further down to 10 nung 2024. So, specifically, yung gap lang nila ng 2004 to 2014 is 1. Meanwhile, yung 2014 to 2024 is 5. Diba? So this would possible imply a long-term downward trend in birth rates in Ireland. So there could be a number of reasons for this trend, such as pwede siyang economic factors, social changes, or government policies. Sa deaths per 1,000 population naman, as you can see in the data, stable lang or it remain relatively stable lang yung death rate per 1,000 population nila between 2004 and 2024. So, 7 lang talaga siya. So, bakit? This suggests na yung mga factors influencing mortality such as yung healthcare advancement, lifestyle changes, and environmental factors is that it have a balanced impact during this period. Kaya siguro, stable lang yung death rate nila. Sa rate of natural increase naman, which is ito yung differences between birth and death rates, is it has been gradually declining from 0.9% no year 2004 to 0.4% year in 2024. So this implies a slower population growth rate likely due to factors such as decreasing birth rates and an aging population. Sa net migration rate naman, no year 2004, yung net migration rate nila is 9.10. So this indicates na nagkaroon ng influx of immigrants into the country, likely driven by yung nainganyo sila sa economic opportunities and a favorable immigration policy. By year 2014 naman, is naging negative siya. Negative 7. So, this suggests na maraming mga tao were immigrating, letter E, from Ireland than immigrating into the country, which is the letter I. So, itong shift na to may be attributed to several factors including na yung global financial crisis na kinakaharap or naharap yung Ireland year 2008, which led to economic downturn and job losses in Ireland. So as a result, maraming mga Irish citizens na umalis para mag-seek ng mga better opportunities elsewhere, while immigration also decreased due to less attractive economic conditions na. So, nung dumating na yung year 2024, yung net migration nila had rebounded to 15. So, bumalik siya, 'di ba? From negative 7 to 15. So, this positive figure indicates na mas marami na naman yung pumupunta sa Ireland. So, several factors could contribute to this increase such as yung nagkaroon na ng recovery ng kanilang economy, a favorable immigration policy, and yung appeal of Ireland as a destination for skilled workers and students. Sa total fertility rate naman, it has been steadily declining over the past 2 decades. This means na yung average number of children a woman is expected to have in her lifetime has decreased. So while yung total fertility rate nila remained relatively stable, which is 2004 to 2014, it has since dropped to 1.6 in year 2024. So, itong decline na to can be attributed to several factors naman. Just like pwede na yung mga couples is that mas gugustuhin nila na magkaroon na lang ng smaller families, often limiting themselves to 1 or 2 children. Or maybe na yung societal attitudes towards family size and parenthood have evolved, with many people choosing to prioritize muna yung personal and professional goals over having a large family, 'di ba? So sa male's life expectancy naman, makikita niyo sa data na naga-increase siya. So from 75 years in year 2004 to 78 years in 2014, and then 81 years naman in 2024. So, years old. Nakita niyo, 75 to 81 years old, di ba? So, bakit siya nag-increase? maybe due to improvements, nagkaroon ng improvements in healthcare such as yung better treatments na and access to medical services or healthier lifestyles with reduced smoking and increased physical activity. Pwede din environmental improvements, better mental health awareness, economic growth, and successful public health initiatives. So, itong mga factors na to, pag pinag-combine mo siya, eventually, it would lead to longer and healthier lives. So, tingnan natin paano naman yung sa babae, 'di ba? So, when it comes to females' life expectancy naman, is nag-increase din siya. So, makikita nyo, mas mas matagal mabuhay yung or mas matagal yung life expectancy ng babae compared sa lalaki. So yung life expectancy ng female sa Ireland is it has increased. So naga-increase siya steadily over the 2 decades, suggesting na nagkaroon din ng improvements in healthcare, lifestyle, and socio-economic conditions. So itong increase na to from 2004 to 2014, which is 3 years siya, which is 3 years, indicates significant health advancement during that period. So the slower growth from 2014 to 2024, which is only 1 year siya, may suggest na parang nagiging mabagal na yung improvements ng ano nila, 'di ba? Ng improvements ng healthcare nila, potentially due to existing health challenges or the need for targeted health policy. So 1 year lang yung gap ng life expectancy ng female in year 2014 to 2024. Sa urban population naman is that the percentage of the population living in urban areas during the year 2004 to 2014 remained constant at 60%. Bakit? It suggests na yung while your urbanization was already significant, kasi 'di ba may urbanization na, meron pa ring mga substantial shifts in population distribution during this period. Meanwhile, in the year 2024 naman is nag-increase siya to 64%, which indicates na nagkaroon ng trend towards greater urbanization. So, may mga factors or this could be driven by factors such as economic opportunities, migration from rural areas, and urban development initiatives. Sa dependency ratio naman, nung 2004, yung dependency ratio nila is 31. Yung dependency ratio ng Ireland is 31. This indicates na for every 100 working individuals, there were 31 dependents. So, actually, it was a relatively moderate dependency ratio, suggesting na pwede pa siyang or manageable balance between the working population and dependents. And then, nag-increase na naman siya to 33.5 in the year 2014, meaning na nagkaroon ng burden on the working population. 'Di ba? Mas tumaas yung burden na binibigyan nila sa mga working age population. This suggests nung year 2024 is nag-decrease na naman siya to 29. Bakit? Pwedeng mag-indicate siya na nagkaroon ng improvement sa dependency ratio in which it suggests na nagkaroon ng reduction ng dependents relative to the working age population, which may imply a more favorable economic environment for the working age group, possibly due to higher employment rates or decrease in the proportion of dependents. Lastly, sa infant mortality rate ng Ireland is that naga-decrease din siya dramatically Remember, dramatically from 5.1 to 3.3 deaths per 1,000 live births, representing a reduction of 1.8 deaths. This could imply na nagkaroon ng substantial improvement sa healthcare, pwede rin sa maternal health, syempre, and neonatal care during this period. However, yung projected infant mortality rate nila is it remains constant at 3.3 in the year 2014 to 2024. So, pwede na while yung Ireland has made significant progress in reducing infant mortality, nagkaroon pa din ng mga further reductions that may face challenges, or yung current level may represent a stabilization point. 'Di ba? So, from 5.1 to 3.3, and then naging stable na siya. Moving on sa Afghanistan, which is the less developed country. So, a little background lang. Yung Afghanistan has a long history starting around 7,000 before Christ, and then it has been influenced by many conquerors like Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, and the British. So, nung 1747, yung mga Pashtun leaders is binuo nila yung Afghan Kingdom. And then after 3 wars with British, naging fully independent sila noong 1921. So, yung Afghanistan, although less developed siya, it is home to diverse ethnic groups like Pashtuns, Tajiks, Uzbeks, and Hazaras, each with unique traditions. So, maraming mga Afghans na naninirahan sa mga rural areas, and nomadic Kutchi people travel with herds. So, yung war na nangyari sa Afghanistan has left the land with mines and damaged schools, but children still study wherever they can. So, nakikita nyo na although yung war na yon is nagkaroon talaga siya ng malaking impact sa mga tao dun sa Afghanistan, yung mga bata pa din is pinipilit pa rin nila or humahanap pa rin sila ng paraan para makapag-study sila or para lang makapag-aral sila. So, yung mga Afghans is they enjoy flying kites, drinking tea, and eating dishes like palaw. So, despite sa mga challenges na kinakaharap ng Afghanistan, their culture remains rich and resilient. So, total population, compared to Ireland, yung population ng Afghanistan is increasing din. From 2004, it is 28.5 million. So, nag-increase siya to 31.3 million, marking a growth of 2.8 million over 10 years. So, 2.8 million yung nadagdag from 2004 to 2014. Additionally, mas tumaas pa siya in year 2024, which is 42.6 million. So, yung gap nila is 11.3 million. So, 11.3 million yung nagdagdag since 2014. So, itong rapid growth na to is that pwede itong malagay or maglagay ng pressure sa resources nila, including yung housing, healthcare, education, and employment opportunities. Since yung population nila is tumataas ng tumataas, 'di ba? So, sa births per 1,000 population, as you can see in the data, 48 births yung births per 1,000 population in 2004. So, this relatively high birth rate is actually characteristic siya ng mga sa mga or makikita talaga siya sa karamihan sa mga developing countries where cultural norms, yung mga cultural norms natin is that naniniwala tayo or nagkakaroon tayo ng limited access sa contraceptive or contraception. And yung high infant mortality rates din natin or ng mga developing countries contribute to larger family sizes. So, nung 2014 yan, nung 2014, yung birth rate nila is nag-decrease siya at 35. And it remained unchanged up until 2024. When it comes to deaths per 1,000 population, as you can see in the data na naman, so yung death rate nila is, it fell from 21 to 8 in year 2004 to 2014. So, it indicates a reduction of 13 deaths per 1,000 population. So, itong substantial decline na to suggest na nagkaroon ng mga major improvements sa healthcare, nutrition, sanitation, and living conditions sa mga tao sa Afghanistan, 'di ba? And then in year 2024, nag-decrease na naman siya sa 6 deaths per 1,000 population, indicating na ongoing pa rin yung improvements nila, in which it leads to slower rate compared to the previous decade. So, malaking factors na ito, or malaking factor na nag-decrease yung deaths per 1,000 population nila sa Afghanistan, in which may according, or may nabasa ako na hindi siya positive na hindi siya positive na kung iisipin, kasi yung birth rate nila is pababa, 'di ba? Decreasing din siya, as well as yung death rate nila decreasing din. So maganda na if yung death rate nila is decreasing, dapat yung birth rate din nila is decreasing. So maraming kakaharapin na mga challenges yung mga tao sa Afghanistan kung ganun, 'di ba? So sa rate of natural increase naman is it remained constant 2.7 in the year 2004 and 2014. So itong stability na to suggests na while yung population nila was growing, may mga ibang factors pa din, such as yung mortality rates nila, that may have balanced out the growth from births, resulting in no change in the rate. However, in the year 2024, it has risen to 3.0%, which indicates an upward trend in the population growth. It is being said also na yung pag may higher rate, or pag higher rate of natural increase can lead to a younger population, which may have implications for education, employment, and economic development. So sa net migration ng Afghanistan, noong year 2004, nagkaroon sila ng positive net migration rate of 3.6, suggest that Afghanistan was experiencing an influx of people. Maraming pumupunta sa Afghanistan. This may be because nagkaroon or nag-return na yung mga refugees nila after years of conflict and economic opportunities attracting migrants. However, nag-decline na naman siya to -3 by 2014, indicates a significant net outflow of people. Bakit? Siguro dahil na rin sa ongoing crisis, or ongoing na nagkaroon din ng mga challenges yung Afghanistan, in which it caused the outflow of people by year 2014. Nung 2024 naman is nagkaroon, still it is not positive, negative pa din siya, kasi as you can see in the data, -1 pa rin siya, in which, pero it shows a slight improvement, 'di ba? Suggesting that while they still experiencing more people than arriving, the situation may be stabilizing. So sa total fertility rate naman is nung year 2004, 6.8 siya. And then it dropped to 5.1, a reduction of 1.7 births per woman by the year 2014. So this declines indicates na nagkaroon ng shift in reproductive behavior. No year 2024 naman, it further decreased to 4.8 births per woman, in which it suggests a continued trend towards lower fertility. So, yung decline ng fertility rate is that pwede siyang magkaroon ng impact sa economic growth. It is because fewer children na can result in a smaller youth population entering the labor market in the future. So, economically speaking. Sa males naman, yung males life expectancy nila is nag-i-increase siya, 'di ba? So, from 42 to 59 years old, represents a remarkable gain of 17 years in just over a decade. So, medyo okay-okay na din. So, itong significant improvement na to may be due to enhance in healthcare access and quality, nagkaroon ng improvement sa nutrition and living conditions, and nagkaroon sila ng effort para mabawasan yung mortality rate from infectious diseases and improve maternal and child health. In 2024 naman, it further increased pa to 64 years, indicating that there is continued economic development leading to better living standards and ongoing public health initiatives. When it comes to females naman, yung life expectancy nila sa Afghanistan noong 2004 to 2020 to 2014 rose from 43 years to 62 years. So 19 years yung gi-increase nila or yung itinaas niya in just a decade, remember. So itong dramatic change na to indicates na nagkaroon din ng improvement sa healthcare access and quality, particularly sa maternal and child health. In year 2024 naman, it increases to 68 years with an additional gain of 6 years. So this may be influenced by ongoing improvements in healthcare infrastructure and services, increased awareness and access to reproductive health and family planning, and there is a continuation of socio-economic development. Let's proceed to urban population ng Afghanistan, in which, as you can see in the graph, noong year 2004, 22%. And then, nag-increase siya to 24% by year 2014. So, it indicates parang modest rise lang siya kasi 2% lang yung itinaas niya. This suggests a gradual shift towards urbanization, possibly due to migration from rural areas in search of better economic opportunities and improvements in urban infrastructure and services that attracts more residents. So, it further increased to 27% noong year 2024. So, nagkaroon ng additional rise ng 3%, 'di ba? So, itong growth na to may be driven by ongoing economic development and investment in urban areas. Talking about dependency ratio, there were approximately 85 dependents for every 100 working age individuals in the year 2004. So, mataas, 'di ba? Mataas yung mga dependents nila. So, itong high ratio na to suggests na nagkaroon ng substantial burden on the working age population, likely due to large youth population and high mortality rates among older adults. So, tumaas yung youth population. And then, tumaas din yung mortality rates among older adults, 'di ba? So, in year 2014 naman, it further increases to 89.4, which indicates na yung dependency burden grew heavier over this decade. So, bakit? This could be attributed to a continuing high birth rate with more children entering the dependent category. So, yung Afghanistan kasi they was still experiencing the effects of prolonged conflict, 'di ba? And then in which it affected the family structures and population demographics. So by year 2024 naman, salamat naman at nag-decline siya to 78.5, in which it shows na nagkaroon ng improvement sa dependency ratio, 'di ba? Kasi sobrang taas nung year 2014. So itong pag-decrease niya suggests na yung proportion of dependents relative working age population has reduced. So, maganda siya na pangyayari. Moving on sa infant mortality rate, yung year 2004, very mataas kasi 165. And then, bumaba siya to 74 deaths per 1,000 live births in year 2020 to 2014. So, nagkaroon ng substantial reduction of 91 deaths. So, okay siya. Kasi, itong improvement na to indicates na nagkaroon ng increase in vaccination rates and better disease prevention measures. So, yung nutrition and sanitation din nila are also improving, in which nakakontribute ito to better overall health outcomes for infants. So, maganda na it further decrease na naman to 46 deaths by year 2024, in which it may imply that there is a continued investment in healthcare infrastructure and services. So, we are done on comparing the two countries, and now we're moving forward to ano nga ba yung implication nito sa population. Yes. So, sa total population, so, yung increasing population is, it can enhance the labor force, providing a workforce to support economic growth, especially sa mga high-demand sectors like technology and healthcare. So, in the context of Afghanistan naman, yung increasing population, or pag nagkaroon sila ng increasing population, it may strain an already fragile economy, in which it will create a larger youth demographic that requires job and education, potentially na mag-lead ito sa unemployment and unrest if hindi ito ma-address. Furthermore, both countries they will face increased demand for social services. So, yung sa Ireland, pag growing yung population nila, or a growing population, may require expanded housing, healthcare, and educational facilities. Meanwhile, sa Afghanistan naman, yung need nila for basic services like education and healthcare is critical, and yung population growth could exacerbate existing deficiencies. Sa birth rate naman, a high birth rate results in larger proportion of young people, which can provide a dynamic and energetic workforce in the future, driving economic growth. So, medyo okay siya na factor. But, decreasing birth rates can lead to a smaller future workforce, in which pwede itong maghinder ng economic growth and productivity. Also, pag lower yung number of births, it will result in a higher proportion of elderly individuals. So, mas marami yung population ng mga matatanda, in which it will increase the burden on social services and healthcare systems. Sa deaths per 1,000 population naman, a decreasing death rate may lead to population growth if birth rates remain high. So, andaan nyo yan. So, itong increase na to, or this can increase the labor force, but may also strain resources in services if economic growth does not keep pace. So, yung increase ng mortality can create social and financial burdens, especially when primary earners or caregivers pass away. So, sa context ng Ireland, which is stable yung death rate nila, pag kinumbine natin siya sa decreasing birth rate naman, could lead to an aging population, potentially na pwedeng mag-slow yung economic growth nila due to a shrinking workforce. So, it may also indicate na pwedeng magkaroon ng well-functioning yung healthcare system nila, but an aging population may increase long-term healthcare cost. So, sa rate of natural increase naman, an increasing rate of natural increase suggests a growing population, which can provide a larger labor force. Meanwhile, pag decreasing naman yung natural increase nyo, or yung rate of natural increase, it may indicates potential population decline, which may lead to labor shortages and challenges for economic sustainability, especially in sectors reliant on younger workforce. So, pag increasing is makakapag-provide ka ng larger labor force. Pag decreasing, it may lead to labor shortages. So, sa net migration rate, in Ireland, an influx of immigrants can help fill labor shortages, particularly in sectors like healthcare, technology, and construction. However, a loss of population due to immigration in Afghanistan can lead to a brown drain in where skilled individuals is umaalis sila that can diminish the potential for economic growth and development sa Afghanistan. So, nakikita nyo yung kaibahan ng more developed and less developed na countries, 'di ba? When it comes to net migration rate. Sa total fertility rate naman is pag low yung fertility rate mo, malamang fewer than new births, 'di ba? Which can result in a shrinking workforce in the future. So, it is often correlated siya sa aging population in which sinasabi ko na magi-increase yung burden ng social services and healthcare systems nila as a larger population or as a larger proportion of the population becomes elderly. However, yung decrease ng total fertility rate naman could also open up avenues for investing in human capital and improving quality of life. So, some male's life expectancy, pag longer yung life expectancy ng mga kalalakihan, it will remain or it may allow them to remain in the workforce longer. In which makaka-contribute siya sa economic productivity, 'di ba? However, this may also necessitate adjustment in retirement policies and pension systems. It could also encourage individuals to save more retirement, potentially leading to increasing investments and economic stability. Meanwhile, sa female naman or sa mga babae, pag nagkaroon ng or pag mataas yung life expectancy nila, yung proportion ng older women in the population will rise. So this can lead to demographic shift where there are more seniors than younger people, affecting societal structures and resource allocation. So pag marami yung mga matatandang babae, yung dependency ratio is nag-i-increase din siya. Meaning na kokonti na lang yung mga working age individuals support a growing number of dependents. So, pwede itong mag-lead or this can strain economic resources and social services. Sa urban population naman, yung mga cities are often drive economic growth due to higher productivity levels, innovation, and access to markets. So, yung increasing or pag nagkaroon ng increasing urban population is it can enhance economic activity and job creation. So, it may also necessitate investments sa infrastructure, including na yung transportation, housing, and utilities to meet the demands of residents. To add, yung increasing urban population is pwede siyang mag-lead sa urban sprawl, which may result na syempre, urbanization, so kinakailangan na yung mga housing, transportation natin is dumadami din, in which mayroon din siyang negative impact kasi pwede siyang mag-result sa habitat loss, increased pollution, and greater reliance on automobiles, 'di ba? So, sa dependency ratio, if yung dependency ratio is mataas, probably more dependence relative to the working age population can lead to increased pressure on social services, healthcare, and pensions since fewer workers are supporting more dependents. So, a lower dependency ratio then often correlates with a larger labor force which can enhance economic growth, 'di ba? So, kasi magiging or hindi na gaano karami yung mga dependent na tao. Lastly, sa infant mortality rate, Lower infant mortality rates contribute to a healthier population in which it can enhance the productivity and economic output kasi mas marami na yung mga bata, mas marami na yung mga children na nakaka-survive to adulthood and enter the workforce. Also, decreasing infant mortality rate naman can lead to lower healthcare costs associated with treating complications from preventable infant deaths, allowing for or pwede siyang mangyayari yung reallocation of resources to other health initiatives. So, pag fewer yung infant deaths, yung population may grow more rapidly, especially in countries na yung birth rates nila remain high, leading to demographic shifts and potential resource strain. So in conclusion, yung demographic changes occurring in Ireland and Afghanistan present both challenges and opportunities in which nag-require siya ng strategic planning and policy responses. So, as both nations navigate these shifts, mahalaga na mag-focus muna sila sa sustainable development, equitable resource distribution, and the well-being of all population segments. So, yung interplay of population, birth rates, yung mga nasabi ko, yung mga factors na yon will significantly shape the societal landscape, necessitating a proactive approach to foster resilience and adaptability in an ever-changing world. So I hope you learned something from my country's intercensal analysis. Lagi lang natin pakatatandaan na hindi talaga same yung mga factors na yun, just like population, births and deaths, per 1,000 population ng two countries, especially when we're talking about a more developed and a less developed. Kasi hindi sila same ng pinagdadaanan, 'di ba? But pwede na yung pag-increase ng mga factors na yon is may positive siya na impact sa mga or sa each country. Pwede din na yung pag-decrease na yun is may positive din na impact and vice versa. Muli, I am Namer Genera S. Palo, representing Ireland and Afghanistan. Thank you.